that's having, when you do this, what did you just do to the fraction? Yeah, everybody ever use the word reduce? What's the problem with using the word reduce?
It sounds smaller.
As it got smaller, and you know what? Research will bear that out. Kids think 3/4 is less than 6/8, because after all, we reduced it. We made it smaller. They're equivalent fractions. The word simplify is a lot more appropriate. There's an academic language issue. Why are we using the word reduce? It really is not a mathematically correct term to use. We didn't reduce anything. We just simplified it. We wrote it in different terms. So the words that we use will impact what students think about what you're doing. And you're right, as soon as they start to define it, redefine it, eventually it's like playing telephone. You get to a point where the definition doesn't even mean anything anymore. Okay? All right, you get the idea here? You've got some great stuff on the table here, some really good stuff on the post-its. I think what we probably want to do is type up what's on the post-its and make sure we get that up on Canvas so everybody can see that. Because there are a lot of good topics here that are not only things that may apply well to your own research project, but may also get us thinking about things that we should be thinking about anyway by virtue of being in the classes that we're in. You know, when we start doing methods and so forth, these are some really good issues that we ought to be thinking about. I wanted to just give you a couple of reminders about that in terms of the paper that you're writing for 3160. You're actually writing your paper here in January and February, and it can be on the topic of your choice. And I wanted to emphasize here anything of interest in education that you think might be researched in your own classroom. So keep in mind, we've talked about that you are going to be essentially rewriting the paper into a more formal proposal. A proposal is, that here's the statement of the problem, here's the literature review, and here is the study that I'm going to conduct. Right, that's a proposal. What you're writing in January and February is not going to get into the here's the study I'm going to conduct. It's going to say, if I were to conduct a study, here's what I might be able to do in my class. And you're going to do that in a paragraph or two, but no detail at all. Because the idea here is, as we've talked about, when you actually get into your field setting next fall, you're very likely to walk in there, spend a couple of weeks in your field setting and say, wow, a lot of the stuff that I thought I might be able to do a research study on, I probably could, but I think now I'm more interested in this. I find my students, our students from cohorts 1 and 2, having done that a lot. They walk into the school, they come back and they say, one of the things my teacher really emphasizes is this. I'm really interested to know something more about that, so I decided that's the direction I'm going to take. And they end up switching gears. So it may be that what you write for the paper for this class ends up being eventually evolving into your proposal. Maybe it's a statement of a problem in a lit review, and by the time you get to next fall, it is the area you're still interested in. Your field setting lends itself to that, and so you expand on that kind of methodology section of how you're going to do the research, and you actually create a proposal around it, and that's fine. If not, nothing's lost, right? This is a paper for a class, and so you're going in, you're saying, here's a topic I'm interested in education, here's the problem that I think is very interesting, and here is research that's already been done on it, and you write that literature review and say, if I had an opportunity to research this in my own classes, I'd probably do something like this, and you write that up. So the main purpose of the paper for 3160 is to give you experience in selecting and defining some problem in education and writing about it, reviewing what other people have done and writing a literature review. Okay? But keep in mind, this is all going to be very flexible here, because when you get to next fall and you're in methods, your mind might change about what you want to write about. And that's okay, because anytime we find a topic that we're interested in, we do some digging and research on it, it can be a very good thing. Okay, any questions while we do time? Give you a few insights on thinking about how you can do your research, what your topics might be. Is that helpful? Okay, good. Just a couple things that are upcoming, just reminders. We have 2 more sessions left this semester. One of them is in a couple of weeks on November 12th. We're going to be talking about the methods that researchers use to collect and analyze data, and get a little bit more specific into that part of it, because a full proposal that you'll do next fall will go beyond that literature review and actually talk about what kind of data are you going to gather and what's that going to look like, so we'll talk about that. And then our last session together on December the 3rd, we'll have a guest with us that night from the Human Subjects Review Board, who's going to speak to us a little bit about that whole issue of projects that we do in the research world that require approval from an outside body that says it's okay for us to do that kind of research, and when it's required and what it looks like. So what I'd like for you to do for next time, since we're going to be talking about collecting data and analyzing it, that's chapter 6 in your book. Okay? So would you please read chapter 6? The title of the topic, the title of the chapter, I believe, is Methods of Collecting Data. That will lay the groundwork for our next class. Also, I would like for you, in the next couple of weeks, to touch base with your project advisor. Now that we've got some topics on the table, some things that we found out that you're interested in, depending on where you are, it would be a good thing for you to meet with your advisor. This might be an exchange of emails. It might be just sitting down with your advisor for 20 or 30 minutes in the next couple of weeks. Probably best face-to-face if you do that, to just kind of talk a little bit about, here's what we did tonight, here are the topics I'm thinking about, where are we headed with this thing, and kind of a reminder that the topic of your paper, whatever it is you're going to write on, you need to know by January, because you've only got half of January to February to write your paper up. It's due by March the 3rd. So get together with your project advisor. I put today's PowerPoint up at the Blackboard community. We'll continue to update
Actually,
those.
Canvas, right?
Right, Canvas. I'm still going back and forth. Even though I've been using Canvas since January, I'm still not there. So, right, Canvas.
I was like 20.
Okay. Good. Thanks for coming. You guys have a great week.